A Less Than Royal Narcissist, Part 33.3, Engagement Analysis. The interview moves on, and the talk is now about the various causes that they wish to be involved in and the larger platform. This evidences facade management. The interview at this stage is now at 11 minutes, and the grip has not been loosened at all, notwithstanding the fact that Harry, 1 minute earlier, had shifted his position, but he was unable to get away. He was unable to move his hand, as Meghan Markle continues to grip it with a physical assertion of control. Harry moves on to state that I know that I am in love with this girl, and I hope that she is in love with me. I hope that she is in love with me. This evidences a degree of humility on his part, but one might expect him to be somewhat certain of that, given the fact that the relationship was progressing in the way that it did. This comment, of course, demonstrates the blindness that is occasioned by emotional thinking when a victim is ensnared by a narcissist. It's also noteworthy that throughout the interview, Harry mentions on at least 3 occasions about being in love with Meghan Markle. She never says it once. Why is that? Surely, given her infatuation with him, that she would be espousing all of the brilliant qualities of Prince Harry and the fact that she loves him. After all, this is an engagement interview. It's meant to be that happy journey that is going from this point towards marriage. It isn't mentioned because, quite simply, as a narcissist, she lacks the emotional empathy associated with being able to love. But that isn't the reason that she doesn't say it. The reason is, there is no need to. He's ensnared. He's under control. You see, the narcissist will only say and do things if it is necessary for us to do so. And therefore, in certain instances, we will not do things because there is no need to. So a typical example of this would be, say, marriage. It's very easy for the narcissist to say to somebody, I can't wait to marry you. This is future faking. I want to marry you. You're the most wonderful person in the world. Saying those words in the moment allows the narcissist to assert control in the moment, because that is part of what narcissism must achieve, control in the moment. Not yesterday, not 6 weeks in the future, but now. And asserting control in the moment can be done very easily by saying something. Words are cheap. Talk is cheap. Words come easily. And therefore, by saying, I want to marry you, I can't wait to get married to you, and the victim goes, oh, thank you, that's so romantic. I can't wait to marry you either. The narcissist receives fuel, and the victim is under control. The narcissist has got what they need. They then don't have to actually marry them if it isn't necessary. Some narcissists, of course, will marry, because at that point, the necessity of the assertion of control demanded that this occur, so the narcissist does so. But many narcissists don't. Why? Because they don't need to. Why does the narcissist stop giving you great sex? Because we don't need to do it any longer. You're ensnared. So why would we continue to use our energy, which must be used for not only keeping you under control, but many other people under control? Why would we continue to use it doing something that we don't need to do? Because we don't do it for your sake. Because we have no emotional empathy. We don't do it driven by honesty and decency and compassion, because we don't have those traits. We only do things so that they allow us to control you, to draw fuel from you, to gain character traits from you and residual benefits. So Meghan Markle never mentions about being in love because she doesn't need to, because Harry is already ensnared. Prince Harry asserts that he explained to Meghan Markle what she was letting herself in for, and that it was a big deal. As we now know, that hasn't mattered, because the narcissist will not be fettered in any way. And although Prince Harry gave her due notification that by taking this step and being engaged to me and marrying into the family is a big deal and there's a lot that goes with it, at the time Meghan Markle will have nodded and said, I accept all of that. But it's the narcissist conditional asterisk. Basically, what we say and what we do disappears into the ether the next moment. We're never bound by it. And so we will say to you, I love you, but then we don't behave in the way that we love you. Why? Because we don't. We say, oh, I will do that, and then we never do it. Why? Because if we are forced to do something, that affects our control. It fetters us and constrains us. And therefore, whilst it was explained to her that what she was letting herself in for was a big deal, that didn't matter, because ultimately there has been a lack of accountability by walking away from all of that as part of the need to assert control. He then talks about tackling things together, and Meghan Markle interrupts him to say, "So nicely said, isn't it?" She interrupts Harry as he's speaking. This exhibits her sense of entitlement, poor boundary recognition, the need to assert control. She also states the obvious: we are watching the interview, you know, we don't need to be told. But she, of course, has to draw attention to this as part of her assertion of control over both Harry and the interviewer. She turns to the interviewer, asking the question of her, which is the assertion of control, and the use of "isn't it" is reminiscent of the repeated use of "right" in the recent Oprah interview. It's part of the assertion of control to ensure that the individual is agreeing with you, so that the narcissist instinctively and consciously knows that you are under control. Prince Harry then goes on to talk about how there's a lot of young people running around the Commonwealth, and that is what they will be focusing on. Well, it's rather interesting that the official engagements that the two of them enjoyed and engaged in as a couple since 2018, when Meghan Markle joined the British royal family, it demonstrates that they visited Australia, Fiji, Tonga, New Zealand and South Africa as Commonwealth countries, and that they also visited Ireland and Morocco, which, since I last checked, I don't believe are members of the Commonwealth. There's an awful lot of countries that are missed off the Commonwealth. Those countries were visited as a couple. Prince Harry visited 3 more countries in Africa, which were part of the Commonwealth as solo. And then, of course, no more, because they stepped back from their royal duties. So all of those young people running around the Commonwealth suddenly became forgotten about. The cause célèbre of wanting change, as all part of the facade management, didn't come to be. And again, that demonstrates a lack of accountability, the need to assert control in different ways, the lack of emotional empathy for all those affected by such a decision. And of course, Prince Harry meant all of this at the time when he said it, but he has been persuaded by the assertion of control over him through the manipulations which I have explained in different episodes of this series to renege on his obligations and duties. Of course, he's conned into doing it, thinking that that's the appropriate thing to do to protect his family. He hasn't sat there and thought, fuck it, I'm not bothering with the Commonwealth anymore, I can't be arsed. He has been conned and misled into not attending to those duties, driven, of course, by what has occurred as Meghan Markle has asserted her control over him, pulling him away from those duties as part of her assertion of control, driving him into Canada first and now in California. Meghan Markle continues, stating, "It was one of the first things we connected on. One of the first things we started talking about was the different things we wanted to do in the world and how passionate we were about seeing change. And that was what got Date 2 in the books." There then follows an exaggerated laugh. This sentence demonstrates mirroring, facade management, talk of connection, evidence of infatuation. They'd only just met. Narcissists invariably talk about connection. There's a chemistry between us. There's a connection between us. Of course, we don't actually attach to anybody. We attach them to us. But this is part of the manifestation of the infatuation, talking about connection. It's symptomatic to believe that there is this connection, which dupes the unaware victim into believing that they're special, that there is some kind of special connection between them and the unknown narcissist. The interviewer then moves on to asking about whether they had met one another's families. Meghan Markle states, "Yes, his family have been so welcoming." Prince Harry confirms, "You've met quite a few of them." Meghan Markle continues by stating, "I have on both sides, on his mum's sides as well, which has been really important to me. And yes, the family has been great, and over the past year, and we've had a really nice time getting to know them and helping me to feel a part of not just the institution, but part of the family, which has been really special. Isn't that nice? Everything is rosy in the garden. And of course back then it was, because this was the seduction period. Harry was in the golden period. Everything about Harry was painted white, and all those alongside him were viewed as painted white until such reason as they gave Meghan Markle to view them as black. This is the welcoming family, which has been branded racist and unsupportive. This contrast in behaviours exhibits the black and white thinking of the narcissist, the contradiction that exists, the flattery in talking about Harry's extended family in this way, and of course the assertion of control. At the time, Meghan Markle truly believed what she was saying, because as an unaware narcissist, she believed that this was really wonderful and really special, and she saw everybody as being welcoming because they were. But how soon this is forgotten. How soon this is forgotten with regard to allegations against that family. And this demonstrates also the failure of the narcissist to exhibit object constancy. Those of you who have experienced the interaction with the narcissist will understand this only too well. The narcissist criticises you, for instance, will say, "You never listen to me." And we often use never and always because of the inference of it being an absolute. So the narcissist says, "You never listen to me." You, of course, know that that's wrong. And you then explain to the narcissist, "I was only listening to you last week when you were telling me about all of the problems you're having with your job, and the week before that when you were upset about your auntie dying, and the time before that when your bunny rabbit got run over by that articulated truck." Of course, mentioning all of those things to the narcissist, providing evidence of the fact that you actually do listen, and therefore the comment, "You never listen to me," is wholly wrong, does not go down well. Because at that point, when the narcissist says to you, "You never listen to me," you are painted black. And that means that everything about you is horrible and awful. And all of the good things that you'll have done for the narcissist become instantly forgotten by the narcissism. They're wiped from the record because the narcissist must see you in only one way, a bad person. And then if you have the audacity to point out that not only is this view wrong, but then you tender evidence in support of it, the narcissist won't go, "Oh, actually, yes, I suppose on balance, 9 times out of 10 you do listen to me. Sorry, I got that wrong." No, your further comments threaten the narcissist's sense of control, causing the narcissist to respond by poo-pooing. "That never happened. You only did that because. Well, so you should." And all of the good things that you repeatedly do for the narcissist either never happened, or are diminished, or it is given a different slant. And that is all done as part of the assertion of control over you. So, notwithstanding this clearly fabulous welcome that Meghan Markle received, which she admits to in this interview as a matter of record, all of that then later becomes forgotten about. The warmth of the family embracing her and bringing her in. If they are truly racist, would they have bothered to bring her in the first place? No, they would not have done so. And this shows quite clearly the black and white thinking which is being exhibited by a narcissist. You're either with me or against me, for me or opposed to me. You're either black or you're painted white. And when you're painted black, everything about you is black. Nothing about you is likable, redeemable, or appreciable. And when you're painted white, wow, everything about you is wonderful. And here, everybody else is painted as white because Harry is in the midst of being seduced. And therefore, as we can see with the repeated, rather creepy stare that he receives, he is viewed as white, and by extension, so is his family. And so everybody thinks, well, isn't this wonderful? What a happy time for them both. The family have been nice to her, as they have, and she thinks that's great. And indeed she does, because they are all giving her control. They're all providing her with fuel. They're all signalling that they don't have an issue. And therefore, because there is no offence to the narcissist's notion of control, they are all viewed as white. And of course, even if there were slight offence taken to the issue of control for the purpose of bagging the main prize, which is Prince Harry as the intimate partner primary source, the facade management would ensure that she remained friendly with Prince Charles and William and Kate, etc., in order to portray herself as this wonderful, pleasant individual, not only to bring them under control, but the narcissism does this to prevent any derailment of her attempts to control Harry and get him into the position of intimate partner primary source. This ends part 33.3. Join me shortly for part 33.4 as the analysis continues.